Elizabeth Betsy Braddock, aka Psylocke. First appearance, Captain Britain number 8 in December of 1976 as Betsy Braddock. Her first appearance as Psylocke was in New Mutants Annual number 2, July 1986. Hey guys, you know who it is, what's going on, when it's happening, where it's at, and why we're here today. How you doing? It is I, the sublimely magnificent Big Ugly himself, Omari, Ellis feogrande on YouTube, back with another episode of the Whatever We Want podcast. And as usual, I'm joined by my co-host, my running mate, one of my best friends in the world, the man who bears watching, Superjaz.
Who you talking about? Who are you referring to?
Superjaz.
All that stuff you just said.
Superjaz.
Who's that? I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, guess he's not here today. Anyway, I got some random motherfucker over here. I never seen him before in my life.
Okay, anyway. As nature intended, question mark. Yes, as he said, I found him. I am Superjaz, or you can call me Jazz, SJ, JT, whatever you want, what have you, and the like. And yes, as my dear friend, my best friend said, this is the Whatever We Want podcast, where we do just that. We talk about whatever we want. We do not lead this conversation. This conversation leads us, and we let these chips fall where they may.
Every Wednesday.
We let these chips fall where they June.
Some Wednesday coming soon, I suppose.
We let these chips fall where they July.
133 advanced coupon.
Let these chips fall where they August. We let these chips fall where they September. Okay.
I can't remember. No, I don't know what to say.
I don't remember what October. We let these chips fall where they November.
You're just gonna go through the whole year regardless of whether or not I respond.
Fall where they December.
December.
Let these chips fall where they January.
What the fuck would I even run? Cranberry.
Let these chips fall where they February.
February, March, April.
You let these chips fall where they March.
Wish I had a drink.
Oh, where they April? We let these chips fall where they May. We let these chips fall where they June. Just go through again. We let these chips fall in 2023. We let these chips fall in 2024. We let these...
Oh my god. So, fair. That's a good way to start things off. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
I will say, I was surprised to find out, because I knew Psylocke's real name, let's be honest. And I knew that she was Captain Britain's sister, but I did not realize she was in the series, or she was in, the character existed 10 years before the whole Psylocke thing happened. Because I didn't read old Captain Britain comics.
I didn't know that her first name was Elizabeth, but when you said Betsy Braddock, I was like, I know who that is. That's Psylocke.
Mm-hmm. I should have done. That's Psylocke. We discussed it off camera, and I had the whole time planned on doing Magneto, but I had done a lot of people who have 4 or 5 names already.
Yeah, you were telling me that he got a million names. I just know him as Eric, whatever his last name is.
Well, at one point he was simply referred to as Magnus. Then he became Eric Magnus or Eric Magnus Lancashire or fucking Max Eisenhart at one point. Because some writer was like, hey, true name, Max Eisenhart. What the fuck? What happened to Eric? What happened to Eric Lancashire? What happened to that? And I was going to do that for Eve, but having already done shit like Nathaniel Christopher Charles Dayspring Summers Ascanison or fucking Amara something Aguila for A, I'm like, fuck it. Here's I'm sorry, Amara is also Aguila, aka Allison Cressmere, aka so aka Magma.
You could
Why is it
have.
always the M mutants with Mag in their name?
You could have. You could have. For L did Logan.
Could have done
I
a
know. I
Logan
know his
for
real name
L.
isn't. I know his real name isn't Logan. His real name is supposedly supposed to be like James Howlett or some shit.
James Howlett.
Yeah, which how the fuck do you know? But okay, I guess they went back far enough and said actually.
Yeah, I think I did Lorna Dane.
Yes, that sounds right. The fact that you remembered is crazy.
Who did I do for W? Actually, yeah, I didn't do Wanda for W. I forget who I did. Warren Worthington.
I was gonna say,
Warren
did you,
Kenneth Worthington.
You did, Angel.
Yeah, I did Warren Kenneth Worthington, and for Pete, I did Pyotr Rasputin instead of Pietro Maximoff. I didn't do the Maximoffs, probably because I don't like them. But, well, I like Quicksilver's powers.
Oh, I like Evan Peters and Elizabeth Olsen.
They're great actors and actresses. Yeah. They're fine. That said, I don't like Wanda Maximoff.
And the Quicksilver scene from Days of Future Past in the kitchen is one of the best scenes in superhero movies.
So much that they copy it with everybody who's had super speed powers since.
Well, they tried to copy it in Apocalypse. It just didn't hit the same with Evan Peters Quicksilver. It didn't hit the same though.
That said, it was still one of the few good things about that movie.
I think Apocalypse was not as bad as everybody said. Do I think that the movie was that good? No. Do I think that the movie was straight utter garbage like everybody said? No.
I'll give you not garbage, but I'll give you that I ended up not liking it.
I think that the issue with that movie was that I still say Days of Future Past is like the best superhero movie that I've probably seen in recent years. To this day still. And I've seen some good ones, but to this day still, Days of Future Past is the best superhero movie I've seen in recent years. So that movie being so good, even if people don't agree that it's the best, everybody still agreed the movie was good. The movie coming after it just wasn't going to live up to the hype.
It also wasn't good.
It wasn't that bad.
I haven't seen Phoenix, so I won't
Phoenix
ask you for your opinion on that.
That movie's bad.
That's fair. But yeah, Apocalypse had some good moments. I will give it that. There are some other things that I haven't seen it anytime recently. But with Apocalypse, by then I had started reading the comics a lot more. I had read a lot more of the comics, and my friends had known that. And while I left Apocalypse being like, it wasn't the best, but whatever, I went to the movies today, my friends asked me, or I was like, no, I had some things about it that could have been good. And then my friends asked, like, yeah, what did you think? What did you think? Since you're the big X-Men fan in the room. All right, it was, huh?
So you fucking hated it. You're like, so this was wrong and this was wrong.
Well, no, it was more, well, it was okay. I had some questions about the decisions they made. And they're like, what were those decisions? So, you got the little fringe, threads on the outside. And after I started with something minor and don't even remember what it was. But I started with something minor. And a half hour later, tangenting into various rants, I realized I didn't like the movie.
You kept finding another thing and another thing.
And it wasn't even just like thing. It's not like the comics. Days of Future Past, none of the X-Men's are like the comics. Right. None of the X-Men movies are like the comics. Like it is what it is. But Days of Future Past, they changed, one of the important characters out, and also decided to make her powers not work that way, and stuff. But I still found the movie enjoyable. That was like the main thing. And I thought at first that's what it was going to be like with Apocalypse. When I was first saying I had some questions, because with Days of Future Past, I'm like, Kitty's powers don't work that way. So that kind of took me out early on, but I got back into the movie and just accepted it for what it was. I know why they did it. I know a
They
lot
did
of
it
reasons.
because, yeah, well, one of the main reasons they inserted Wolverine is because Hugh Jackman's Wolverine was, stupidly popular.
Yeah, like I said, I get why they did it. Wolverine's a more popular character than Shadowcat. That's common sense. I like Wolverine more than I like Shadowcat, and I like Shadowcat.
Right. Nothing against then Ellen Page, not Elliot, but then Ellen Page's acting. Nothing against like the acting, because their acting is like dope, but a movie centered around Shadowcat in the modern day, that movie would not have had the legs it did.
No one would care.
Right.
Now they could have just waited 10 years and then did it about Shadowcat, and they'd have been applauded. Because because now it's more accepted to have a female protagonist
Yeah,
than a male protagonist.
Because that came out
In the 20 teens, it's not like it came out in the 60s or some shit.
I was gonna say 2011, but it was like what, 14 maybe?
Yeah, whatever. It came out sometime in the 20 teens.
Probably about 2-3 years later is when people really started standing up for women's rights.
Well, not even so much of much of women's rights things, just so much like take modern day Marvel, where up until I think the last movie, it was all about get these male superheroes out of here. Here's their female versions, or the females and how better they are than the men. And I get it; it's a good message to put out there. Not saying it isn't, but that's when they could have done that and done it with Kitty, and it probably would have been more, let's go see it. Especially because then your pinky outs would be like, it's kind of like the comics now. But like I said, the 90s cartoons version of Days of Future Past, they did Bishop instead of Shadowcat because Shadowcat wasn't in that cartoon. And
there you go.
Was Bishop until they put him in that episode. But
how did they do the time travel astral projection thing then?
It wasn't astral projection. He literally went back in time to try and stop Senator Kelly's assassination.
Because what's his name? Bishop's whole thing was dealing with time travel anyway, right?
Yeah, he's from the future as well.
So then they just incorporate that with him. Okay.
Yeah, in the comics, he chased a guy named Trevor Fitzroy. I could have done that for T and been obscure as fuck. He chased a guy named Trevor Fitzroy to the past of criminal or whatever, and got stuck here. Him and Trevor both.
So you chased the future criminal back to the past and then got the future criminal stuck in the past. Ain't that a bitch?
Yeah, you and him both got stuck in the past. Now, eventually, he gets the ability to time travel and shit too because people like Cable exist and thus the technology exists. But he doesn't do nearly as much time traveling as Cable does. Like, time traveling is just part of Cable's character. Literally since he was a baby. But Bishop, the only time he really starts abusing time travel like Cable does is when he was actively trying to murder Cable and a baby.
How do you feel about the thought of time travel or the execution of time travel or whatever in movies and TV shows and shit? Like, just the concept of it is just crazy. Because if you think about it, it would mean that time. They even made a joke about it in Futurama, where because Fry. I was gonna say Cry cryogenically freezes himself. He cryogenically freezes himself, and then there was another dude who popped up later, and he was like, "Yeah, I froze myself because I figured that time was cyclical." And then Fry was like, "Nope, straight line." But if you think about time travel, it would mean that it's the theory that time does do some circular loop, and if you go back to the thing, then you can, loop. You can reverse the loop, and then therefore you got it's some crazy shit. Just the thought of it, because that's why in Back to the Future 2, he runs into his past self in the past, even though he's in the future of the past.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. What I was going to say is it all depends on whose time travel you're using. Everybody does their because
Everybody does depict it differently, but the concept of it is similar. But
there's a statement that I saw in a video, and even in that video, he was taking it from somewhere else, so whatever. But it was like, how do you kill a vampire? Oh, well, garlic, so, boom, boom, boom. No, however the fuck you want, because vampires don't exist. Now there are still, now there are now I, that's its own argument. There are holes in that argument. We all get it because whatever. But at the same time, the core of the message is true. At the end of the day, you can do what you want with your story. If in real life time it moves in a straight line, you can have time be a loop in your thing. But there are some places like X-Men or even Back to the Future to where, oh, if you change something in the past, you fuck up your normal life. And you better go back and make sure that thing happened. Like
butterfly effect.
Yeah. And you got to make sure that, you went to the past to make sure your dad boned your mom so you can exist? Well, you better make sure if you go back to the past again that you continue to make sure that your dad does that. Because you may see yourself, but that still has to happen. You know what I mean? Meanwhile, you could be like Doctor who I feel like just does whatever the fuck he wants whenever he time travels. He doesn't worry about no butterfly effects. In fact, I think it was one of the episodes with the 10th Doctor when he got the like black assistant chick. And she's like, aren't you worried about like the time travel? What are we worried about? But like the butterflies, like if you step on a butterfly now, don't step on any butterflies. What have butterflies done to you? But anyway, he just kept going. He's like, whatever, we just do this. And it just turns out that time happened because he was there. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, yeah, this person didn't die that day because he was there.
Right.
It's like time, it's weird. X-Men, it's just pretty much, it's kind of also do what you want, because if you try to change the past, it just turns out you caused your future to happen. It already happened.
That's something that recurs a lot in stories, is that people will go back, like you said, they'll go back to the past to make sure one thing happens or prevent something from happening. But the reason why the shit happened was because you went back to the past to do it in the first place. So therefore, there's no way you could have either made it happen or not made it happen, because you doing whatever in the past to prevent said thing.
It's already happened. You just didn't know it because it already happened. Terminator is a good example of that.
Terminator is some of the most confusing ass fucking like lore.
If the villains succeed in like the first movie, they don't get to exist or some shit like that, because the whole reason Cyberdyne was able to make the cyborgs they can is because they found a computer chip from the dead Terminator that failed in the first movie, and they based their technology off of that future robot that they sent back in the past to kill a guy so that their company should succeed. But had they actually killed him, there's no dead robot for them to have a company.
It's like John Connor sends his best friend back to make sure.
Also,
that he can impregnate his mom so he can be alive. But it's like, how the fuck are you a grown ass man to then have somebody make sure that you get conceived? You had to be conceived to grow up, to then send yourself back to make sure you grow up. But it's like, how did you be conceived to then be conceived again, but you weren't conceived in the first? Terminator is some of the most confusing ass shit. But it's like the tropes of time travel, like you said with the vampire thing and all this stuff. When it comes to like werewolves, vampires, time travel, shit like that, it's like you can do whatever you want within whatever with all that stuff, but there's still tropes that are consistent throughout.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's what I'm
the
saying.
fact
Like,
that you can go back and adjust shit and then run into yourself if you ran into yourself again and all that shit. And like, you can if you were to mess this up, it might change this, shit
but
like
then
that.
there's the people that are like, hey, and then there's the time travel rules where some people are like, don't you interact with yourself in the past, it'll have grave consequences. And then there's others who are like, fucking talk to yourself in the past. Whether or not you remembered it happening, it's fine. Things will turn out the same.
Marty, don't look at yourself, Marty.
And then Infinity War, which tried their best not to follow Back to the Future. Not
Infinity War,
whatever. Fucking Avengers.
I'm just
The
making
one with time travel. The Avengers movie with the time travel. They tried purposely, including to the point where they included lines about it. They tried purposely to say, we're not following Back to the Future's time travel rules. You know what I mean? They're like, no, you can't cause that to happen. You can't go from the future into the past because then that past becomes your future.
in game,
Or that past becomes your present, and then you going back to the future. And still, it was still part of your life. And I'm like, okay, so y'all got your own way of doing things. Cool.
Endgame was a love letter to the fans, and the reason why they did time travel was so they could be like, "Hey, remember 2012 when we had the Avengers for the first time? Hey, remember in what was it 2014 when the Guardians of the Galaxy showed up? It was
that's the meta reason why they did it. Like, no one ever needs to put time travel in their story, but with them doing the time travel, that was the rules they were following. But yeah, they didn't need to do time travel for that movie, but.
They even and I love the Endgame, by the way. Don't get it twisted. But they even made a joke in Happy Death Day to You, which I swear you need to watch Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You because those movies are surprisingly enjoyable and they have no business being that good. Anyway. But they made a joke in Happy Death Day to You because she has to like go back in the past to prevent like the death of herself or some shit. And the dude that she's seeing is like, and then they make like an offhanded joke. They're like, which is the story you're telling me about? Reminds me of Back to the Future Part 2. And then she's like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you haven't seen that? So yeah, basically that's the writers being like, yes, we were inspired by Back to the Future 2, so shut the fuck up. Like, basically.
Yeah, they gotta do that. You kind of, we were talking off screen about copyrights and stuff, and you kind of have to do that. Because, like Office Space, when they talk about their, did you see that movie?
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so when they talk about their plan for what they want to do, to not spoil too much, someone's like, well, isn't this just basically the plot of Superman 3? And they're like, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's a bad idea. Because
I don't remember that. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen the movies.
To be fair, it's not the plot of Superman 3. If anything, it's the catalyst of Superman 3. But Richard Pryor's character does something similar in Superman 3, but that's a decade and a half before at least before Office Space and Swordfish, which also took that same idea.
Swordfish with Halle Berry and Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
Swordfish is only like 10 seconds long, I thought.
You mean afternoon? Anyway. So yes, Swordfish, that entire movie's plot is we're trying to Superman 3 shit, and we need Hugh Jackman to do it. Office Space, it's a plot device. Superman 3 is a catalyst. But yeah,
as surprising as it may be, I have not seen a Superman movie.
I suggest Superman 3.
I heard that that's supposed to be the worst one.
I don't know if that's true, but
that's the one with Richard Pryor, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, I don't know if it's the worst one. It's not good though.
I heard, yeah, because a lot of people said, well, because Richard Pryor was like the man at the time for
Here's the
good reason.
thing. Here's the thing.
Oh
Because
yeah,
we do have an episode of it on my YouTube channel, feogrande, and this guy hasn't seen it because up until this year, I hadn't
sure.
seen Superman 3. So I saw it and I found it enjoyable enough. But if we're going to talk about things from an objective standpoint, no, it's not a good movie. That said, I enjoyed watching it. I had a lot of fun, and Richard Pryor is one of the better things about that movie. Even it's yeah, he's one of the better things about that movie. That and the movie has some scenes that, even though they're from not necessarily an objectively good movie, have big moments that like from nostalgia or fuck yeah, it's a Superman time. There's moments like that where it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, Superman. And there's other moments where it's like, come on now, movie, what are we doing?
No,
But yeah,
but
so that's why I'm like, might I suggest Superman 3? I was half joking. You should probably,
I
you
know
should definitely see the first two if we're talking like
people say
Christopher
the first one
Reeves.
is amazing. Yeah. What was I gonna say? Rest in peace, Richard Reed. What was I gonna say? No, I heard that. Like I said, Richard Pryor was the man at the time for good reason. But so they just decided to put him in the movie. And Superman was like the movie at the time. So they were like, oh well, duh, you got Richard Pryor in my Superman. You got Superman in my Richard Pryor. But I heard that from people like reviews online and shit that apparently the thing that fucked that movie up was putting Richard Pryor in the movie. So it's funny that you say that Richard Pryor is some of the best things about the movie because they say that putting him in there, even though he's an amazing actor, they say putting him in there was a mistake. So that's what I've heard.
It could have been, but I don't know how much better the movie would have been without him.
That's funny.
That is a fair statement to make because even I was like, I like Richard Pryor. He's the man. He probably could have done some better work with the movie, but there were also a lot of lines where it's just you couldn't have had anybody other than Richard Pryor do it. You know what I mean? But there are times where it's like he could have done better. How dare you disrespect? I'm not. In fact, I'm respecting him enough to say, buddy, you could have done take two and shut people up. That's what I'm saying when I say stuff like that. I'm like, you and I both know you're better than that. Come on. There were a couple scenes like that, but very few. But it was enough to where I think I mentioned that in the review that I said that. But no, overall, I still enjoyed the experience.
I told you the only reason I don't watch every episode of this guy hasn't seen is because when it comes to movie review shows, if I haven't seen the movie,
yeah, same.
I watch the review, so.
Well, same unless I have no intentions of ever watching it in my life.
Yes. Although the kill count of Happy Death Day, shout out to Dead Meat, made me want to watch that movie, and I did. And yeah, anyway, but we don't have to keep talking about that movie.
No, it was a very happy. It's one of your favorite movies, Jazz. It's fine. We can talk about it.
It's not one of my favorite movies, but it's a movie I enjoy.
No, I'd say it's fine. We can talk about it.
We don't have to talk about it. We don't.
This episode can be Superjazz's love letter to Happy Death Day.
You gonna title it that, whether we talk about it the whole episode or not, just because you said that dumb shit. You gonna do that because I know you.
Well, now I'm more tempted to because you said that. I probably was.
That's funny.
Sorry.
Anyway,
I probably was just gonna move on.
That's funny. But anyway, you know what movie I recently watched that I actually had only seen bits and pieces, but I was like, you know what? And I had nothing to do. I was like, let me watch this fucking movie all the way through. Was The Sandlot. You ever seen that?
Yeah, classic.
I had never actually watched it all the way through, but I had only seen like parts here and there. That shit was really good.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Beast.
Yeah, then you find out that it's just a dog.
Baby Ruth?
He was just chill. Yeah. You mean that's the same guy? It was like, that was so funny, man.
The great Bambino.
Have you seen Scream 4?
No. I've seen Scream 1. Do you like scary movies? And I'm
What's
like,
what's your
I do
favorite?
not. Yeah, what's your favorite?
What's your favorite scary movie?
My favorite scary movie
Anyway.
is not Scream. Otherwise, I would have watched the rest.
Well, what I was gonna say was the woman who played the lifeguard in The Sandlot uh, is actually the deputy Judy Hicks in Scream 4
Oh,
years later.
nice.
Cause I was watching her, I was like, she looked familiar. What the fuck? And I was like, wait, that's what the fuck? Yeah, that was crazy. Anyway. But if you seem like you were about to say what your favorite scary movie was. So go ahead,
I don't know what it is. I just said not Scream 1. Because I'm not big on horror.
Same.
So I don't usually go out looking to watch it. But there's definitely horror movies that I have enjoyed.
I'm not big on horror either, but I'm like some franchises, horror or action, because horror and action are the two that go on for fucking ever. And some franchises, you get in too deep with them, so it's like I got to see how this goes. I got to see how this ends, and you just hope the story is good because it might have a track record of being decent to good to good to great to decent to good, whatever the fuck. So yeah, so like I saw the first Halloween, the 78 first Halloween. So I said, let me watch the second one. I was like, okay. Then I heard that 3 was fucking stupid. So I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do that. And I heard it got worse as it went on. So I was like, no. But then my friend was like, watch the 2018 Halloween, dude. It was really good. 2018 Halloween, fucking incredible. Halloween Kills got a bad rap. Halloween Ends, fucking stupid. I've seen all the fucking Saw movies because the first Saw is my favorite. Second is good. Third is good.
Saw horror or thriller?
Saw?
Yeah, is that horror or thriller?
See, Saw as it goes on becomes more and more horror, but I think the first Saw, even though it started the whole torture porn, I think the first Saw is more thriller in an aspect, even though it started the whole torture porn shit. I didn't want to see Hostel. Still haven't seen it because Hostel came out around the same time,
You
and that
haven't
looked like
seen Hostel? It's a classic.
you've seen Hostel.
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't seen Human Centipede, and I refuse to.
What the fuck made you bring Human Centipede?
It came out around the same time, and it's got the whole torture porn thing, didn't it?
Oh shit.
Early 2000s.
Yeah, and they stitch motherfuckers' mouths to motherfuckers' assholes and shit.
It probably didn't come out at the same time because the iPad, it came out around the time. Human Centipede probably came out around the time of the iPad because South Park Human Centipede. So it had to come out before that or around the time. So,
but Hostel looked like it was like, oh, you like torture porn, do you? And it just went overboard with like hardly any story to it. That's what it looked like.
And that's pretty much what they turned the genre into.
But
Which it happens.
This like Saw 4, 5, and 6 are so convoluted. I had to finish it, but God. Oh no, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then they came out with Jigsaw years later, which was actually good. And then Spiral from the book of Saw wasn't bad. So, but like I said, I'm not huge on horror, but you know, you get roped into shit, and then now I'm in too deep. Like Scream 5 was okay. Scream 6, really fucking good. First Scream was incredible. I watched the first Scream, which is a really fucking good movie because I love twist endings, and it had one. And then I got stuck. It's like, damn it, now I'm watching these. So
that's fair. I didn't watch the first Scream. Oh, I did watch the first Scream. I didn't watch the second. I watched the first Scream. I didn't watch the second one, or the third, or fourth, or fifth. I seen the first Halloween as well.
Now that is more thriller.
Yeah, I think the closest thing I have to a favorite, and it's not because it's objectively a great horror film. Oh my god, this is horror in and of itself. But because of purely nostalgia purposes, and I don't even think it's a horror film, but it's horror themed, it's more funny than anything else, which is why it's my favorite. Tales from the Hood.
I thought you were gonna say that is technically horror, yeah.
Yeah, that It's hilarious because Clarence Williams,
Mm.
that guy, he's awesome. And
He died like a few years ago, didn't he? Like,
yeah, he's dead. I don't know when he died, but rest
he
in
might have
peace.
been more than a few years, but yeah.
But yeah, rest in peace to that guy. That guy
but yeah.
apparently was, as I realized on our episode, that this guy hasn't seen Involving Tales from the Hood.
I did watch that.
As I said in that, I kind of realized rewatching it how much of an impact that guy probably had on my life with that particular role.
It's so funny after like having watched that movie. It's so funny hearing you say that movie is funny because so much of that movie, not for the horror reasons, but for like the social commentary, is not fun.
Oh my god. Okay, so yes, no.
I'm making a joke, dude.
No, you're right, because this is the internet, and that's what they would have
Dude,
been
I'm making
thinking.
a joke.
That's
I'm making
what they
a
would have
joke.
been
Don't
thinking.
take it serious.
No, I say it's funny not because it deals with
I know what you
racism
meant.
and all of this shit, but the Clarence Williams, I guess, is the main reason I think it's funny. Pretty much the things that aren't the stories themselves, I think, are funny.
You laughed at child abuse, you evil person. God damn it! No, of course I ain't thinking you were.
No, like I said, I know you didn't, but you bring up a good point about the internet. They probably did. So calm down, people. That's not what I was trying to say. I was just trying to say that Clarence Williams is hilarious.
What are you talking?
Well, clearly somebody did.
So you think that the devil is funny?
Yes.
You just think you think that eternal damnation is hilarious?
I mean, if you shoot some motherfuckers in the street and try to rob an old man in his funeral home, yeah. That scene, actually, the ending reveal is one of the most funny things I've seen in my fucking life. Like, if we're gonna talk about the internal damnation aspect of the movie, yes, that shit was hilarious.
The movie is done so well, that shit is done so bad.
Yes, which makes it even more hilarious. Fucking as they're trying to burn, and dudes just fucking. This shit's a dance now. Like that shit's hilarious. No, that is hilarious. That part is hilarious. The racism, not so much. The child abuse, not so much. The revenge he gets on the child abuser, yes, hilarious, but not the child abuse itself. The racist mayor being racist, obviously not funny. The dolls killing him because he's a racist bastard, kind of funny, especially when you look at the like effects. Also, depending on how young you are, also might be a little scary because it's a bunch of creepy dolls, and dolls are always creepy. The fucking weird montage shit in the Born to Die, that clearly not funny. That's unsettling because it's just a bunch of, racial persecution over the years.
Was that the one
when the dude's strapped to the chair?
The sensory thing.
Yeah. And you got the song Born to Die playing while they're just showing all kinds of like the downside to Black history.
Yeah.
And so no, not funny. The fact that you could easily see who shot him. They didn't hide it that well with the little shadow shots of we just killed this motherfucker. Who's these guys? Oh, it's literally the dudes from.
Oh, you can before they like officially reveal. Kind of tell.
Yeah, the clothes aren't really hidden that like especially nowadays. Like probably back in the day.
I never looked that up.
What I will say is probably back in the day before they tried to like HD remaster or anything, because that just kind of makes the effects stand out a lot more. Like, let's say the dummy in the car on the black cop that got shot or whatever because he was trying to do something and he came back as a zombie, that whole deal. You know what I'm talking about. I don't remember exactly his thing, but you know what I'm talking about. The zombie, black zombie man, when he attacks the car and there's a dummy in the car, you probably couldn't tell in the 90s version. You can tell if you like looked it up on Amazon Prime or something that that's a fucking dummy, and like some of the other effects because I'm trying to HDify things. It's like, okay, I can clearly see these gangsters are wearing the same fucking clothes our main characters are wearing.
That's what I'm saying. I did not pay that close attention when I last watched it. Which
Also,
was
when they're getting shot by the cops, it's like also a bit more obvious.
yeah, they play that music in the end and
They play
shit.
that song so much, and I was like, grew up my whole life trying to remember where that song came from. Because somehow in my head I got it associated with Yoshi.
Is that was
Yoshi!
the
Ah, thank you! You actually remember that! Somehow I got those things associated together, but it's from Tales from the Hood. Somehow, my mind.
didn't they have wasn't that in Yoshi's Island?
I don't think so. I think y'all were. You know what I think it was? I think y'all were playing Yoshi's Island.
We were playing Yoshi's. The three of us were playing Yoshi's Island
And
together.
we had recently seen that movie, and we were probably stuck. And I just started singing that and made it associated with Yoshi at the time because we were bored.
I remember when it's Yoshi. I remember you doing that shit.
Wow. And then growing up, I just thought it was from a fucking Yoshi game. I thought it was from Yoshi's Island for the longest until I watched Tales from the Hood on This Guy Hasn't Seen on my YouTube channel, feogrande, and they played that in the movie, and I just had to say, that's pretty much like you just did. That's what that's from.
Our viewers will not understand how crazy that revelation is to me, you, and shout out to my brother Ibn. But they will not understand why that is so crazy. But just know, y'all, that's kind of like, really?
Yoshi, they sent you.
Favorite Mario character that's not Mario?
I almost instantly said Luigi, but I had to think about it.
I know. I almost said not Mario or Luigi, but I was like, no, you pick Luigi. That's fine. I don't know if I have a favorite, but one that I do really. That's a good choice.
Bowser.
One I really enjoy is Waluigi because it's just like, yeah, that's one of the main ones. And then he don't look mad. Wario looks mad. He don't necessarily look mad as he just kind of looks like confused. Waluigi always looks like, damn, why'd I get the shit into the stick? Like that's what he looks like. Like, why'd you fuck me over?
Why can I not be in Super Smash Brothers?
He still isn't them.
Yeah, Wario's been in multiple.
But
swear if Toadsworth makes it to the next game and Waluigi still ain't, I'm gonna be mad.
But I was gonna say
Toad in a fucking Smash game. Let's talk about it. Oh, no, he is. Peach holds him up. Waluigi's a trophy too, so.
Well, I was gonna say, Wario's in the game, but that's because Wario had his own game that was the mini games, so they took that because otherwise Wario probably would have just been a palette, like kind of palette swap, and maybe a stronger Mario or some whatever the fuck. So what would they make Waluigi? Waluigi has no identity.
Sure he does. He's the guy from the sports
Mario
games.
Luigi has Luigi's name now. Okay. Wario has his Wario games.
Yeah.
So it's not just Mario.
Luigi's the guy that shows up for the sports games and the etc. games.
It's not just I'm Mario's brother. It's not just I'm like the bad Mario.
Literally.
Right. So Waluigi is just
he's bad Luigi.
He's the bad Luigi, and instead of making him like
he can beat people with like tennis rackets, golf. Well, Peach already does that.
They
put Daisy in the game and made her a copy of Peach. I don't want to hear it.
You kind of got me with that one.
And I like Daisy. Hi, Daisy.
I like all of them.
I do too. I realized that as I say, like, I don't know who my favorite is, but I like both because even Toad has his moments.
They didn't make him Gamma Ouija, like take the L and flip it upside down. I think that's Gamma. I could be talking out my ass.
The whole reason of the naming and why I said Wario was bad Mario literally is like
Warui. Took the M and flipped it.
Also, Warui or something along those lines means bad in Japanese. So your
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wario is bad Mario. Waluigi, bad Luigi. Waluigi.
That's my dumb American brain. I thought they just took Wario and then took the Wah because it was like Wah and then put it on Luigi
Yeah.
to be funny and clever.
Yeah,
That's what
like
I
he's not Ruigi. Wouldn't he be Ruigi? You could say it looks like an R, stylized R. But no, it's Waluigi, and then someone who knew more Japanese than I do, which is to say all of it. They were like, "Hey, no, this is what's going on," and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
see.
I learned something.
Gamma sign.
It could be a gamma too.
It is gamma. Okay, I'm not wrong.
I'd say gamma could be it could be gamma too, but gamma also can look like an R to me. So
It looks like a lowercase R
yeah,
or an upside down capital L. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I wasn't saying you were wrong. I was just saying I
was making sure. I was making sure I wasn't wrong.
Yeah,
so that's why I said they didn't go Wario and then fucking Gamma Ouija. Like that would have been stupid.
But yeah, the Waterui, they might have tried to do something like that until they realized, wait, Waterui already has the Rui part, because they probably pronounce Luigi as Ruigi. And that's just because the language doesn't have a sound effect that goes L. So they were like, Waluigi. Oh, Waluigi. He's bad Luigi, just like Wario's bad Mario. We just put the Wa from Warui in front of Mario to be like Wario. But this
that is a lot more fitting than I thought it was. Like, because really, I really just thought they just said Wario Wa. Oh, Luigi, Waluigi. Haha, that's funny.
I thought that for years until like college. I was adult years old when I found that out.
So. And then they gave him a thick ass mustache, just like Wario.
Well, yeah, Wario needed a teammate for the sports games, for tennis. So they're like, let's give him a bad Luigi. Let's give him Waluigi. And then, are we ever gonna put Waluigi in the main games? Nah, he's just the etc. games guy. He's the guy that shows up when we got crossovers of all the Mario characters. Oh shit, we playing golf? What's up? I brought my golf club. Oh, we playing soccer? I'm ready. We playing football, baseball? I'm ready. Whoa, we have a main game with the platform and I ain't about that shit. Call me at the next party. Party time! Wah!
I mean, they even did the opposite of Wario. Wario's short and fat, while Luigi is tall and thin.
Well, I mean, not to the same degrees, but that's Mario and Luigi's dynamic as well.
Right. Well, Mario's
not to the same degrees.
Is Luigi's like
not fat.
Bigger than Mario?
No, he's taller than Mario. He's not fatter.
No, taller. Mario's
skinnier than Mario as well.
Mario's bigger than Luigi.
Yeah, but he's not fat, but
I'm not saying fat, but I'm saying bigger though.
Yeah, he's shorter. You got the short and chubby and the tall and skinny, but you got short and obese and tall and anorexic.
Basically, right.
That's what I'm saying. It's like not to the same degree, but it's the same dynamic that Mario and Luigi have.
I never noticed that Mario was a little bigger than Luigi.
You should watch the Mario Super Show, the Mario Brothers Super Show.
Well,
that guy's got some. Look, they like their spaghetti, and there's nothing wrong with that. But carbs, because I like spaghetti too. Carbs.
I was just something about but carbs. It's just like that's so silly.
What? There's a lot of carbs in spaghetti and pasta.
There's a lot of carbs in pasta in general. Yes. This is fact.
I love me some spaghetti too. I'm gonna make that for a week. Majority of the shit I'm eating this week will be spaghetti. So I hear you on that spaghetti love.
Send me some.
That's it. I'll try.
Don't lie to me.
I said I'll try.
Don't lie to me. Are you really gonna try? Don't lie to me.
I'll try. Will I be successful? I don't know.
I can give you my goddamn address. You can pack that shit up and send it here. Don't do that.
Will they let me
Well, you said you're gonna try.
Well, yes. So will they let me?
We ain't gonna try a damn thing.
We don't know.
It's fine if you don't try, but you ain't about to try shit. So don't lie to me.
No, I am going to do everything in my power to make sure
you
I
bullshit.
give this effort to send you some spaghetti. As long as I can look in the mirror and say I tried, it'll be fine. Now,
Speaking of copyright infringement, interpolating people's lines,
what? I said nothing about.
you owe me.
I said
You owe
nothing
me.
about
You owe me 2
disassembling.
cents.
I said nothing about disassembling myself, whether from the exterior or interior.
Wow.
All I said is I
Wow.
would look in the mirror and say I tried.
I wrote the damn song. I had to take a second to think about. We were talking about what the fuck. Everybody, for y'all don't know, first of all, check me out. I make music, rap, Superjaz. Yeah, one of my second single off the album, My Secret Identity, is "Pick Me Apart from the Inside." I mean, pick me apart from the outside. I'll pick myself apart from the inside, as long as I can look in the mirror and say I tried. So when he said it, I make the whole copyright claim joke, and he's like, "Well, I didn't say anything about disassembling myself. I wrote the fucking song," and I'm like, "What the fuck is he talking about?"
Well,
Oh man.
yeah, you may have forgotten. You may have thought no one would have referenced those lyrics. But hey, when it seems like no one cares, at least you know I'm there.
I'm telling you, you owe me 2 cents.
I don't owe you shit.
And you get the joke.
You want my 2 cents?
I'm good.
You want my 2 cents? Here's $1. I think that size. Just go on a cancel rant.
I was just saying like a whole bunch of
blah 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 blah.
just saying a whole bunch of like shit that you don't even necessarily believe, just fucked up offensive shit. And then when it comes to conservatives and liberals,
Can you imagine if that was the trigger for someone that everyone normally thought was cool? And they get canceled just because someone mentioned the line 2 cents. And they just 2 cents. Oh, you want my 2 cents? I'll give you $2.
but why would that be the trigger?
I don't know, but it would be funny. That's all I'm saying. That was what set them off.
But why?
I don't know. Why do people get mad at a call center when the customer yells at them? They take off their headset, yell, die, and break the headset. I don't know. These things happen, though, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, it's probably hilarious.
Unless you're that person, in which case they're very fucking mad.
I was gonna say it's probably hilarious after the fact.
Unless you're that person, in case they are very fucking mad. After all, they are yelling "die" as they break their headset.
And then you said that the
Die.
Did you say the manager was like pulled you aside at that bullshit?
He pulled me aside. He pulled the guy that broke the headset aside. That's for sure. Just like, all right, we're gonna pull you over here. And they talked it out, put him on break. Eventually, he got back on the phone. But it was funny.
Your mom's funny.
She is. She's also a poet. Did you know it?
I fucking didn't.
Well, now
Been
you
knowing
do.
your ass. Been knowing your ass basically my whole goddamn life. Didn't know that your mom was a fucking poet. Shout out to her.
Now she's a published poet with 2 books.
I have them signed, and I got a picture with her too.
Oh, cool! You got both books.
Yeah. Man, your mom could have had 15 books. I was gonna get all of them.
Well, that's awesome. But I was more just like, oh, okay, that's cool.
It's funny though because one of them is like inspirational and whatever. Another one is like sexy, and I'm just like, I don't want to think about your mom writing some sexual shit.
Exactly. So she has intuitive poems for a joyful and wounded heart. That's the motivational with prayers and devotionals and stuff. Then she has her other book, The Adventures of Caramel Delight, which she has described as naughty poems that will keep you coming back for more.
And it's one of them things where it's like, and first of all, like I said, I've been knowing you so long that your mom is kind of like my mom,
right?
And
you're not reading that second book, and I don't blame you. I'm not either.
I'm not gonna lie. You ain't gonna read it. I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna check it out.
Okay.
But just I was like, ugh. And then I thought about it too, and I was like, Caramel Delight. Your mom is light skinned. Ugh. Is this autobiographical? Like,
I'm not reading it. I'll put it that way.
I know you probably don't read it.
I'll put it that way. I'm not reading it.
But support your mother.
Oh, I support her. I'm here advertising it. I think other people should. I'm just not.
Rex, support your mother, man. You should read all of her work because you know if you wrote something,
I've read more of her work than you.
Well, I didn't fucking know. Nobody told my ass.
No, your ass just ain't listen. She been
When in the motherfuck did y'all ever say anything about your mom writing poetry?
She has been a poet as long as I've known you. She would go to like open mic nights and shit.
You ain't tell me.
I had to have come up.
Did you know I had a bad right knee?
Yeah, because I have two of them.
Did you know I had a bad right knee?
You've told me this, yes.
Did you know that I had water on the knee when I was young and got it drained off?
Operation.
But did you know I had water on the knee when I was young and got it drained off, and that's probably why it happened?
You told me this.
Did you know this? Did you remember
Would
this?
I have told you that off the thing? But I would have been like, oh, hey, well, you did this, so. No, you told me.
No, the reason why I bring that up is my bad right knee has been something that I have mentioned here and there throughout my whole life, probably not all the fucking time. And it's something that was just there and it's just whatever. And it's like, maybe I didn't mention it, but there's no way that you couldn't have known. Obviously, there's a difference between that and poetry, but still, maybe you could have mentioned it.
Here's the difference.
I didn't know.
Here's the difference. If you were to come to me and be like, hey, I had water on the knee and thus an operation and now it's just bad, I'm not going to be like, you never told me that you had water on the knee when you were 5.
You ain't come to me and be like,
you
hey,
never told me.
Hey,
nobody told me this shit. I probably mentioned it as casually as you mentioned your knee, but that's because you've known her forever. She probably mentioned it. She's like, I know poetry.
Ibn didn't know either.
Well, that's because y'all don't pay attention. That's
so
what I'm going to say.
Is it me?
Now, these are her first books.
If we both
published.
didn't know?
It's both of you, apparently. It's these are her first books being published.
I know that.
So...
But I mean, talk about since
she's been a poet. She's been a poet longer than I've been an actor.
No, well, since before the three of us were born, she's been writing. Apparently,
yeah.
And it's one of them things where it's like, so she's just been writing, and then probably more and more and more. And if I didn't know, and my brother didn't know,
she was writing.
And when it comes to moments, we can both agree. If we take it, not just this. When it comes to just moments that have happened in the past with certain shit, Ibn has a great memory for random specific dates. Yes?
Random specific dates? Sure. I mean, so do I. We're not talking
about you right now because we talking about Ibn.
Go ahead.
Because I feel like I do, but he really does.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Ibn would have fucking remembered if I motherfucking didn't. And the fact that neither one of us knew me that the shit didn't come up.
That just means y'all don't pay attention. That's what that means. That neither y'all pay attention.
Because
Ibn, so good at remembering random specific dates. You can't agree with me on when we actually met. Now, I don't have the specific date, but I know I met y'all earlier than y'all say I met y'all.
Man, I've known you since I was 7, bro.
Known me since you were young. So.
Anyway, we weren't chilling one day being like, hey, by the way, did you know my mom's a poet? Anyway, pass the 64 controller. Like, no, that didn't happen.
Probably when my mom said some poems at the family reunion, I said 1, 2. You just went, oh, Omari said a poem at the family reunion.
I didn't go to your family reunion.
I probably mentioned it in conversation, is what I'm trying to
I
fucking
was
tell
about to
you.
say.
That's what I just said. Was the
As much
conversation
as much as we are family, we're not blood, bro. Like
you said,
we're like blood. We're like blood, but we don't share. Yes.
You said it wasn't like, hey, my mom does poetry, by the way, past the N64 controller. I said it probably went like, yeah, my mom did some poems at the family reunion, and I did one too. And we focused on, oh, yeah, you did that. That's what I just said. I didn't say that you should have been at the family reunion seeing her. Because, yes, if you were at the family reunions, then you'd have no choice but to know. Because often she does a poem at a family reunion. But... So I wasn't trying to use the family reunion as proof that you should know. I'm saying if it was mentioned casually in conversation, I'm trying to support your point, if anything, but also say how it would have happened. It's like it probably was dropped in casual conversation. Here's an example of why you would not have listened to it fully.
If you ever have children, I am not gonna tell them that I rap or have rapped in my life at all until they hit their mid-20s at least. Anyway. Payback.
Payback? Payback? What are you paying back for? Payback! Who is that says that? Some Soul Calibur character. I want to say it's like Cassandra or somebody. Payback! She yells payback. Anyway. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think it's Cassandra. Anyway.
Conversation with yourself. You all right over there?
Hey, I was trying to remember who said that in Soul Calibur. It's Cassandra, Alexandra, sister of Sophia. She's got a shield and a sword. And as a Soul Calibur 6, apparently has a lot of lightning in her moves. And now you know. Are you gonna say anything? No. This is what we're doing now. Alright.
Okay. Because you just kept fucking talking.
Well, I kept going. Are you gonna say anything? No. This is what we're doing. Did you not hear that part? Because I was asking you to say something.
One thing that I will say is if you want to follow us on our respective socials, then you can go ahead and follow yours truly. Like I said, I do rap, even though my nephews, you know, not the blood nephews, but my basic, you know, best friend nephews, nieces won't know until their mid-20s. But I do rap. Anywhere you stream your music, you can go ahead and check me out under the name of Superjaz. That's spelled Superjaz. Dropped my debut solo album a few years ago called My Secret Identity. You may have to put in Superjaz, My Secret Identity, since I'm not so famous yet. Also, you can go ahead and check me out on Twitter under the name Superjaz2. That's Superjaz number 2. And of course, you can go ahead and find and follow me on Instagram under the name Forever Superjaz, the word forever spelled correctly. And if you happen to be in the St. Louis area, come June 16th, that's going to be that weekend and next weekend, Friday, Saturdays at 8, Sundays at 2. You can go ahead and check out a colored funeral that I will be producing and also in. That's going to be at 517 Theater Lane. Where can they find you, sir?
Well, you can find me here every week, every Wednesday on the Whatever We Want podcast. You can also find me... damn, that was loud. You can also find me elsewhere on YouTube under feogrande. That is feogrande. I may have mentioned it once or time on a few of these episodes, but I have a show on there called This Guy Hasn't Seen that I do with a good friend of mine and a good friend of the show, Bill Smith, where we talk about movies one guy has seen and the other hasn't. Go ahead and check that out. I also have a Twitter and Twitch. That's Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in. Stop on by. Yeah.
And also, if you want to check out a little something else, I'll throw it out there for the time being. Go ahead and holler at my boy D-Dare Bionic's YouTube channel every Monday. He does something called Mental Health Chat Monday, which is actually a really, really cool time. He gets a lot of creatives around town. And because he is so open about his mental health issues with depression, he started a interview podcast. And he interviews people. I was on an episode that'll be coming in the future, but he interviews people about just mental health and whatnot. Cool. And it's a good time. It comes out every Monday at noon, I believe. And that's on D-Dare Bionic. So that's DDARE space and then Bionic. All right.
D-Dare Bionic.
Way too many syllables.
D-Dare Bionic. D-Dare Bionic. D-Dare Bionic. D-Dare Bionic. D-Dare Bionic. D-Dare Bionic. You can make it work. Anyway, no matter how many syllables that happens.
Well, whether it be about X-Men, whether it be about time travel, whether it be about classic movies, whether it be about thriller or horror, franchises that overstay their welcome in general, or not. No, it won't be about your mom being a poet, because we're not going to talk about that next time, because we didn't talk about it beforehand. No, but whether it be about any of that, what are we going to talk about next time?
Whatever we want.
Be nice to yourself, everybody. What'd you say?
Adiosness. Cause law.
Be nice to yourself, people.